rent roll starter. Today I wanted to share with you some advice around how I actually managed to close my office over the Christmas break. And I've been thinking a lot about this, even though right now as I'm filming this, it's not Christmas time and it's not even near Christmas time. I've just been thinking a lot about it because we've had a few public holidays recently and we've got a few more public holidays coming up. And also because being in real estate, quite often you're expected to be turned on the whole time. You're expected to be at your phone 24/7. It can be really hard to take a weekend off or a public holiday off. And I also thought it would be useful to have this video ready for you so that when we do come up to Christmas or, you know, the Easter long weekends or whatever, you can be prepared and actually be able to take some holidays. So what I used to do when I owned my rent roll is I used to close my office altogether for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. In some cases, depending on public holidays, it would be closer to 2.5 weeks. And because I was the licensee in charge, this was such a great opportunity for me to be able to take a full-on break. It was just delightful. It was the one time of the year that I could turn everything off and have a really good holiday. So this was often the time of the year that my husband and I might go on a cruise, and it didn't matter that we were out of mobile signal and we didn't bother taking an internet package while we were on the cruise. We just switched off, and that was really recharging and felt fantastic. So in the lead up to those periods of time, I used to take a few little steps to prepare my clients for the fact that I was closing the office. And this is the type of thing that you could use to prepare for your Christmas break, to prepare for your 4-day Easter long weekend, but it also allows you to prepare for other times of the year when you just have one little public holiday, or perhaps it's a 3-day long weekend. So I just thought this might be useful for you to be able to prepare for that so you can actually shut down and take some time off. So the first thing I used to do was make sure I let my clients know what the plan was over the Christmas break. So I made sure that months in advance I was notifying clients that Christmas is coming, we're going to close on this day at this time. So it would often be maybe Christmas Eve or the day before, and I would usually tell my clients that we were closing around midday. Truth be told, I would work through until 5 o'clock that day, but I would promote that we were going to be closing around midday that day. It would often be a Friday. So it just meant that clients had the perception that we were closing a bit early, and I just had a little bit of buffer time to get everything finalised, because that last day tends to be a bit busy. So make sure that you're educating your clients and telling them when you're going to be closed. You can do this through your newsletter, and I would suggest you do this in your landlord newsletter and your tenant newsletter. And make sure you put it perhaps in the signature of your emails, put it at the bottom of every single letter you send out in the lead up to this Christmas break or the Easter break. You also want to make sure that at this time, as you're educating your clients, you're telling them about how you want them to handle emergencies during this time. Now, if you're going to ask your clients, or your tenants in particular, to contact tradespeople in the event of an emergency, you need to get your tradespeople on board. So what I used to do is I had a selection of really reliable, trustworthy tradespeople that I worked with all the time, and I would have a conversation with them quite a few months before the Christmas break, just to find out who's going to be around over Christmas, who's willing to do work over Christmas, and then I would clarify it with them when we were going to be closed over the Christmas break, what emergency repairs looked like, so they had a list of what they were allowed to do as an emergency repair, and I used to give them an extra secret contact number so that if they needed to contact me in an emergency, they could. So that's what I used to do. So I'd have those conversations with tradespeople in the lead up to, so we knew who would be available to head out for emergency repairs over that period. I also used to educate my landlords and tell them what the plan was. Landlords understand that we're human, and I think part of having a really good relationship with your landlord is to let them know that you are human and to tell them your plans over Christmas. So I would actually tell my clients that my husband and I are heading off on a cruise, and so I won't be contactable during this period of time. However, I've got the electrician organised, I've got the plumber organised, I've got the builder, the handyman, the locksmith all organised, and they know what they're allowed to do in the event of an emergency. So that meant that landlords felt reassured that even though tenants couldn't contact me, they could contact a reliable team of tradespeople. So that's what I used to do as far as educating clients. I actually used to have a little letter that I sent out to all of my tradespeople as well, the tradespeople who were listed as my emergency repairs. I would actually send them a letter explaining what they were allowed to do, what constitutes an emergency repair, and how they would handle emergency repairs if they were contacted by tenants. And if you want a copy of that letter, just feel free to drop me a line, and I'd be happy to share that letter with you, and you can just use it for your own tradespeople if you want. So that's what I used to do. I educate my landlords, educate my tenants, and communicate with my tradespeople as well, so they were aware of what they were allowed to do. Then on the last day, just as we were closing up for the Christmas break or the Easter break or whatever, I would change my voicemail message. So I didn't particularly want to be contacted on my mobile, so quite often I would turn my mobile off over this break and I would change my voicemail message. And it's just a matter of changing the message to say, we're closed between this date and this date. Now if you've called in relation to an emergency repair, this is what you need to do. And you can give out contact details via your voicemail message, or you can just refer clients to your website where you might have a page specifically talking about what to do in the event of an emergency. So that way if people call you, they're not left high and dry, they know that they can contact a reliable tradesperson who will help them out. Then I also used to turn my autoresponder on my emails as well, so that if anyone emailed me, now I assume that if people email me, it's not an urgent issue, they don't have a toilet flooding, or they don't have a hot water system burst and washing through their lounge room. So emails are non-urgent method of communication, but I still like to let people know when they can expect to hear back from me. I actually used to say in my autoresponder that I would be back on whatever day, the Monday, whatever date in January, and I used to say in the autoresponder that it would take me some time to get back to people because there would be a lot of emails in my email account that I had to respond to. So I used to invite people that if their matter was really important, not urgent, but really important, if they wanted my earlier attention, they could resend the email to me on the morning of that Monday, and that way it would appear in my inbox sort of earlier, and I would see it sooner than sort of later in the date order. And the good thing about doing that is it just puts the onus on whoever is sending you an email to make sure that if they feel that their email is quite important, they can just mark in their diary to send it to you again on the day that you return. And it also allows the person who's sending you the email to make a judgment on whether or not they believe it's a very important matter, or whether they're happy for you to take a day or two to respond to them when you get back in the office. So whether or not you actually check your voicemails and your emails during this period is really up to you. There were some years that I didn't check at all, and there were other years where I would start to feel a bit anxious about whether or not something was happening and I didn't know about it. So when I started to feel a bit anxious, I would just check my voicemails and my emails just to provide some reassurance, so that I didn't worry about my clients too much. So it's really up to you. You don't want to add any anxiety or pressure to yourself by not checking it, if you feel that just doing a quick little check might make you feel a bit better. So it's really up to you. What I did find is if you only schedule times to check, so it might be once a week that you check or every couple of days that you check, you'll probably be able to enjoy your holiday period a bit more if you know that you've got a scheduled time to check those voicemails and emails, and other than that you just get to enjoy your holiday period. So I'd love to hear from you about how you handled holidays and how you handled office closures, or if you do close your office over long weekends or Christmas periods, and how you find that your clients respond to that, and what you do to make sure that everything still runs smoothly over that period. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to pop some of your comments about how you do things in the comment section below, that would be great. And if you've got any questions on how I used to run my business in this respect, or if you'd like a copy of that letter I used to send to tradespeople, feel free to just contact us at renforallstarter.com.au. My name's Elwyn, I'm from Rent Roll Starter, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!